Welcome back to another episode of Cold Stream Rod Shop. I'm Derek Fraser. In this week's video, we're going to turn the Roadster red, finally. So right now, my number one priority is to start taping this thing off. As I said at the end of last week's video, what the plan is all the red areas that we painted on the inside and underneath, we're now going to cover with tape and plastic, with the goal basically to isolate everything so that we minimize the amount of dust that goes into the paint. Anytime you're painting in a home, garage or whatever, no matter what you do, you're going to get some amount of dust. So what we're going to do, we're going to do everything we can to minimize that. We don't have a downdraft booth, but what we'll do is once everything is taped, we'll wipe everything down, we'll dust everything, we'll get the curtains, probably wet the floor, and then I'll hand it over to Jesse, who's going to come here on Friday night and hopefully spray this thing red on the outside just like it is on the inside. So anyways, carry on and we're going to make her red. Well, it's Thursday night. The night before, we're going to paint the Roadster body. Right now what I've done, I've reverse taped it. I don't know if I've had to do this much taping, but I kind of wanted to get as much taped off to prevent as much dust flowing up as we can and get the best job that we can do in a backyard spray booth and with no downdraft and all that kind of fun stuff. So anyways, we've taped everything off. I didn't tape the insides of the doors off because it really doesn't matter too much. Put another coat of paint onto them, it's no big deal, just as long as we do the outside edges. All the red is going to get covered over by the panel at some point in time anyways. So, but across the front, we've got the skirt all the way around. I'm hoping that the plastic is taped down well enough so that nothing moves too much while we're spraying. It wasn't too bad when I sprayed it the other day, when I sprayed the inside, but the outside was the plastic clung to it a little better. So right now everything is cleaned off with the tack rag twice, and then what I will do tomorrow, I'll probably go over with the tack rag again, and then the old school way that we used to do it, and I think it's still relevant, is get some paper towel, something that doesn't have any silicone or whatever onto it. I just find just using regular old paper towel and some reducer, wipe everything down, give it a good clean, and then hopefully we'll be ready to paint when Jesse gets here tomorrow evening. So hopefully the next time that I do a video here, you're going to see some red paint. Okay, here we are. It is paint day, and I've got our guest here, Jesse Johnson. He's a painter, full-time painter. Jesse's just going over everything, making sure that I've got everything clean enough. Showing me a couple tricks. I don't know if he wants to talk about them or not as far as wiping things down, if it's public information about how he wipes it down or not, but he's got everything all wiped down to his satisfaction. But he's got a trick here that might be controversial, but he's been doing it for a long time and it works really well. So maybe you can just tell us a little bit about this little trick of wiping things down.
Absolutely. So Derek here has obviously done a very good job, and he's wiped this car down multiple times.
I did, many times.
My trick is that I use water. I learned it a long time ago, and not only does it collect a lot of dirt on microfibers, but it anti-statics the car at the same time. So it works really well for two purposes. And the other trick we're using right now is we're using a flashlight to get some bugs out of here, and it works really well. We just shut the lights off and use a flashlight to guide them out the door, and then you don't have bugs in your paint job.
So it'll be the first paint job I've had without a fly into it. Or haven't
We hope.
We hope. So anyways, right now I think we've got it warm enough. I think the next step we want to do, what do we want to do next? Just we mixed paint, I guess.
Next we mix paint and tack it, and let's go.
Okay, so hopefully in a couple minutes here, I actually usually don't show spraying stuff, but I will stick the camera in here and I will film Jesse spraying a little bit and we'll have some action. So
Perfect.
Follow along. So it's Saturday, the day after. We kept the garage warm all night, setting the single stage up. I mean, it pretty much was pretty much dry when we left it last night. It's the middle of the day here on Saturday. Just pulled all the masking off and everything else. Looks fantastic, nice and shiny. I mean, given the fact that we are spraying inside of a garage that we normally work in, there is a little bit minuscule amount of dust flecks into it, but I never had any expectation at all that we wouldn't have that. But very shiny, very glossy, no orange peel anywhere, no runs. My body work was 99%, so we don't have any areas where it waves at us or anything like that. So very, very happy with this. So the plan right now, I'm going to continue cleaning up after the spraying. We're going to warm the garage back up. Hopefully tomorrow or the next day, what we'll do is we'll move the body from this garage over to the other garage where the chassis is, and then work on the next steps of putting it on the chassis. I'd like to do that in this episode, but we'll see how it goes. There's a few chess moves we have to do in order to make that happen. Definitely have to get it out of this garage in the next day or so. Or two, worst case, just so that I can start working on the other work we have here, because we pretty much pushed it all aside and didn't do anything dusty or grinding and whatever while we focused on turning the Camera Lady's 32 Roadster red. So anyway, like everything's all nice and shiny, set, happy with it. I mean, it's not like the $100,000 paint jobs you see on some of the high-end cars, but this is a damn nice single stage paint job, let me tell you. I wish you could see it in person. So all good, very successful. So there's the Roadster body all ready to put on the chassis. Yesterday there was a few things that we needed to tidy up on doing the chassis that I kind of just squirreled on or forgot to do. One of them was to bleed the brakes. Usually not a big deal, pretty simple and straightforward to do. It's not like we were dealing with anti-locks or anything like that. Back brakes bled up really well, nothing leaked. But when we got to the front brakes, we started to bleed the front caliper on the right there, and nothing was really coming out, no matter how much we cracked the bleeder valve. So anyway, we pumped it really hard and it came out really slow. Ultimately, it bled and, the caliper worked, but like there was no flow coming into the bleeder valve. So that was kind of suspicious. And then we came to the other side, to the driver's side here, exact same thing. So there's fluid coming out, but not at any kind of expected flow rate from the bleeders. It was just kind of just dribbling out kind of thing. So right now the brakes work, but there's something restricted in the line. So given the fact that the passenger side and the driver's side have the same issue, my suspicion is that we're somewhere downstream here, either at the T for the brake switch, or more than likely the residual valve here is the problem. I'm thinking that residual valve is bad, or something's blocked, or something's in it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to order a Wilwood one. I'm not going to go with the Amazon knockoff residual valves. I'm going to put a Wilwood one on. So I ordered that. That'll be in a few days. I would rather that we replace that and get that going before I stick the body on, because it's a lot easier to do it right side up than upside down. So one more little delay, I guess, in doing this, but that's that's what happens. We don't, first time that one's happened to me. I have had the proportioning valve be bad, so I don't know where that is. Yeah, it's over there now. I typically buy the Willwood ones, the brand name ones, and not the knockoffs because of that. So anyway, the back brake's perfectly fine. Everything's working. Just want to, even though the front brakes are working, there is something restricting the flow. So that's got to be addressed before we go any further. A couple other things we have to do is put the webbing on the frame. We have it. I bought the stick-on canvas style stuff here. We'll lay that out, cut some holes, put it on. I've got a few things here. I've listed up some small things we're going to do before we put the body on. I'm going to find a home for the axle vent over there, which is basically either going to be a tube with a little jiggly head onto it or something going up to the side of the frame. What else here? Yeah, just a few little small things before we get going. So more than likely the body will not go on the frame on this episode because I want to wait for that valve to come in, and that's going to come probably on video cutoff day, so there won't be enough time to progress that forward. So, but what we'll do right now, I cleaned out the other shop, and we'll start working on something else. There's lots more to do. Can actually move the 33 chassis over and start doing some stuff on the engine mounts. Potentially do some more work on Ellie's coupe, but we'll get some more work done this week. It just gonna have to wait another week to put the body on the chassis. So today I'm back on working on the 33 chassis and fitting the 276 DeSoto Hemi in the chassis. Still have to move it, I think about 3/4 of an inch towards the front. But what I wanted to start working on was making the engine mounts. Now there was one original engine mount that came with it that was in somewhat decent shape. Basically made out of 1/8 wall, bent sheet metal or flat plate. It's more like sheet metal, it's that kind of flimsy. But essentially it was kind of like what I'm used to using, where there was a bracket like this on the engine, and then some sort of a puck similar to this flathead Ford one that I like to use mounted underneath it. So what I started doing is I took this one and then drew these side pieces off on a piece of 3/16 plate, and then took the individual two pieces and put them on either side, welded another flat piece across the bottom here, and then I welded it on both sides all the way around. I kind of like to maybe overdo my engine mounts a little bit. So anyways, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this off, dress it up just a little bit. We're going to drill a hole. It's still hot, so I can't touch it. But I'm going to drill a hole here for this puck to go in. And then once the puck is in, what we'll do is then make the brackets that mount to the side of the frame. And what I've done in the past is I basically have some 2x3 rectangular tubing, 3/16 wall. And I'm going to take that. I've got a piece over here. I'll show you. This is a cutoff of the piece. I'm doing previous ones, but essentially I'm going to make something like this, but it's going to be a bit of a steeper, it'll be a little bit thicker. So I'll start here and I'll cut a wedge, and then what we'll do is we'll cut a large hole here, and then this piece here is going to act as the cushion on the frame right underneath there. So we'll have the pucks squashed between this bracket that goes on the frame and then the flathead style engine mount, engine stabilizer, engine cushion, insulator, whatever you want to call it, rubber thing there. So anyways, I'm going to, like I said, once these cool off, we'll dress them up, drill the holes onto it, cut some of these pieces out, and we'll show you the next step. Tonight decided to work on the bottom mounts, kind of like what I said I described earlier. I make it from a piece of 2x3 rectangular tubing, 3/16 wall. Could probably make it in 3 pieces and weld it together, but it's quite convenient that this is a really nice size for making the lower mounts, and it's I think it was $20 or something for this piece, which I'll ultimately make into. I should be able to get probably 4 more bottom mounts for future projects, but essentially, like I said, we cut a triangle shaped piece. Well, first thing we do actually is we cut this hole in here over on the drill press with the hole saw. Now the hole corresponds to the bottom of the puck, and the puck just basically fits in that hole. It's 1.25 inch size. Once you have the hole cut, then basically use the zip cut wheel, bandsaw, whatever you want to cut it out. And then it's just a little bit of trimming to get this bottom mount to look like that. And it's a nice, robust lower mount, and actually looks pretty good. So right now we have that made. There's still a little bit of trimming I've got to do, but what I want to do is that will go. Hopefully I can show you. Fit like that. I'm probably going to have to shorten it up just a little bit because I ultimately want the through hole going through the center of the upper mount. So what I'll do tomorrow when I come back out, I will trim the lower mounts, shorten them up a little bit, and then we're going to make that, we're going to cut that or drill the hole in the lower mount so we'll have the through hole. But that's the basic bottom mount that we're going to make that will ultimately get welded to the inside of the frame. We're inching our way forward on making the Hemi mounts. One thing I should point out, if you don't want to make these mounts, they sell them at Welder Series or Paul Horton's or Horton's Hot Rods in Ontario. Essentially what I understand is this mount is the same for a DeSoto Hemi. This mount is actually the same as what it is for a 318 or 340 Mopar. So they actually sell lower mounts already made up like this with the pucks and the lower mounts if you don't want to make your own. If you do, this is the way you do it. So anyways, we'll carry on with this, and just like I said, if you look up Paul Horton's Welder Series, if you want to buy your own instead of making them, check them out. If you want to make them the way I'm doing it, follow along and we're going to finish it up here. So there's the lower engine mount tacked in place. I put 2 tacks here, and then either side because I wanted to make sure that after I put the weight onto them that we weren't going to move anymore. Additionally, I had a bar across the front here supporting the engine, and I didn't have the harmonic balancer in place. I'd taken some measurements to make sure that the harmonic balancer cleared, and right now it will clear by about 1/2 inch. Worst case scenario, what we may have to do if 1/2 inch is not enough is I can put a spacer, like another washer underneath this plate, or even weld another piece of plate underneath it to just bring it up just a tiny little bit. So the stage we're at right now, it's kind of the micro adjustments. I think that's as close as I want to go to the radiator. I got about 1 inch clearance there. The fan belt sits back a little ways from it. We think that we can run a flat flex fan off of that face because the fan would come down about there. It's gonna mount on this face and come straight down. I think it's still gonna clear the radiator by 1/2 inch. That's the goal. But worst case, we put an electric fan on the front, and no mechanical fan on the back. We're gonna clear everything. We're good that way. Firewall, the main part of the firewall, we're good. The heads are gonna clear the firewall. We are gonna have to make a little bump out for the distributor because the distributor won't go in. That's I think the body that's going to go on this already has a carve out in this section here. It's carved out for a distributor probably. I think the body was on a chassis that has Chev engine on it. So both mounts right now, they're bolted tightly to the engine and tacked in place on both sides. I've got the same angle on the engine and the transmission as what I do on the pinion, so that's good. What I'm going to do, I think the owner he just wants to drop by and take a quick look at it before I put the final weld on these brackets to the frame. But I think right now we are where we need to be. So mission accomplished. We now have some DeSoto Hemi engine mounts on the 33 chassis. So that's it for another week at Coldstream Rod Shop. We finally have the Roadster body painted red. Very happy with it. Given the fact we painted it into a working shop with drop-down curtains, there is absolutely less dust than what I expected was going to be in it. We have no runs, we have no orange peel, we've got no dry spots. Jesse did an absolutely fantastic job. Everything is super shiny. Not going to do anything to it. Except for bring them back to paint the hood and the front grille later on in the spring when we have that ready, because more than likely what's going to happen with this, we're going to pick away at things. I've got a few things left to do on the chassis. Unfortunately, I think the residual valve is bad on the front, so we're going to troubleshoot that. I ordered a new part for it. There's a few minor things we have to do. We've got to get the webbing put on the frame and then ultimately put the body onto the frame. We're going to do that over the next 2 weeks. I don't know if it's going to be next week's episode. I'll try, but we'll see how we work out on some of the minor stuff. But the main thing is now we've got the body all painted before the really cold weather hits. Cold weather's here, but we didn't want to be painting this during the winter. So we've got it painted. We're going to pick away. We're going to get it on the chassis, take care of things, do everything right. And now I've got time over in the other shop freed up to do all the fabrication work that we've got to do. So in this week's episode, we also got the DeSoto Hemi engine mounts finally made. A few more things we've got to do on that. But we're back in action now. The finished garage has got the finished stuff into it, and the working garage has the working stuff into it. So anyways, that's it for this week at Coldstream Rod Shop. Please like, share, tag, and subscribe. Send me your comments and come on back next week and see what we're up to. Everybody take care and have a great week.